In the heart of Egypt, a nation in bondage stood on the edge of liberation. Under the light of a full moon, with the blood of the Lamb as their shield, they prepared for the exodus that would affirm their covenant with God. The Hebrews vowed to remember the night of their deliverance, instituting the annual celebration of Passover, or Pesach. The Jewish Passover took place during the first full moon of spring on the 14th day of Nisan in the Hebrew calendar. Determining when spring began, however, was more of an art than a science. Since the lunar year consists of more or less 354 days, a 13th month was sometimes added to align the calendar with the solar year, ensuring that Passover remained in its proper season. To declare the start of Nisan, the elders carefully observed natural signs to see if spring had arrived. They looked for the ripening of barley, the presence of specific fruits on trees, and the occurrence of the spring equinox. If these conditions were met, Nisan was declared, and the Passover would fall on the 14th day of the full moon. The Jewish tradition of determining the start of Nisan is known as Kiddush HaChodesh, or Sanctification of the new moon. This meticulous process ensured that the timing of Passover remained consistent, allowing the Hebrews to faithfully commemorate their deliverance in harmony with the natural rhythms of the year. In 1st century Jerusalem, as dusk fell over the ancient city, the Jewish people gathered to commemorate the Passover meal. This year, Passover fell on a Friday, and in an upper room, a quiet Passover meal began that would soon unravel into the most significant event in history. On the Sunday after the Passover, Jesus rose from the dead, fulfilling the promise of redemption. Sunday became the Lord's Day. In fact, in many Eastern languages, the very word for Sunday is the word resurrection. Early Christians continued to commemorate the Passover in addition to the resurrection. However, in 66 AD, the Jewish population in Jerusalem revolted against Roman rule, leading to the outbreak of the First Jewish-Roman War. By 70 AD, Roman forces under Titus besieged and destroyed Jerusalem, including the Second Temple, marking a catastrophic end to Jewish autonomy in the region. As a result, those responsible for the Kiddush HaChodesh were scattered or killed, disrupting the traditional method of declaring the new month and further complicating the Jewish calendar. In response, the Council of Yavne was convened to develop a 19-year Metonic cycle to regularize the calendar, removing the need for elders to declare spring. In the aftermath of Jerusalem's fall, the early Christian community was left to carry on the traditions of Passover while elevating Sunday as the Lord's Day and commemorating the resurrection once a year in a celebration called Pascha.